Okay, so hello, Pam, and welcome to the show. Let's jump right into it and start at the beginning. So tell me, if you would, how and why did you become a Trump supporter?
Well, actually, I was just out there in Boise, Idaho, videotaping all the events that were going on, because in Boise there was only one station and they weren't showing the events, all the speakers that come to the Capitol. So some friends, the MAGA girls, asked me to come out there and videotape for them, because I had been doing a little TV show where I was helping the heroin addicts, because I've been in recovery now 44 years. And I just was out there and, got caught up with all the lies that they were putting out there, got drawn in. And it was just something I was doing for fun.
Wait, you became a Trump supporter for fun? Like, what was it that attracted you? Look, understand, I was with the guy for over a decade, closer to a decade and a half, if you add my time in post the election. I was a Trump supporter. First, in fact, I was obviously a Trump employee. He brought me in out of the blue. I mean, I was there really to collect an invoice for doing some legal work for him on Trump Entertainment Resorts, on the Chapter 11 bankruptcy reorganization for the casino company. It was like the fourth Chapter 11. And then he said to me, "Why don't you come work for me?" And then he immediately made me executive vice president of the Trump org and special counsel to Donald Trump. Now, I don't have to tell you, at that time, he had the #1 television show on NBC. He also had the Miss Universe pageant. So, he made me co-president of Trump Productions, put me on the board of the Miss Universe pageant, which was just him, Alan Weisselberg, and myself. Gave me this incredible task, along with a buddy of mine that was there, who unfortunately I don't talk to anymore. His name was George, in order to do what was called the NCAP Golf Redevelopment Project. It was a 1,000-acre landfill redevelopment in New Jersey, in the Meadowlands area of New Jersey. And to me, it was very exciting, because I'm a deal junkie. So, and I love real estate. So for me, I understand how I got sucked into the Trump business orbit. But I'm trying to understand, you're how old?
70.
Wow. Okay. And it's not, were you always a Trump supporter? Did you watch The Apprentice? Did you read his books over the years, whether it was The Art of the Deal or any of the others? I'm trying just to figure out what makes somebody like yourself into a Trump supporter, because you don't look like a Trump supporter.
No, actually, I'm an alcohol and drug counselor. I could talk to you about addiction and give you a lot of help. Politics, I wasn't involved in. I just started going out there to videotape. As an amateur person, having fun, I retired as an alcohol and drug counselor. And what I see now and know now, I wish I'd known then. But there's 4 things that happens when your brain gets brainwashed. They pull you in. And the first thing Trump uses is fear that hijacks your brain, that the Democrats want to turn this into a communist nation. And that scares anybody. First thing that came to my mind was Hitler. We're not going to have America no more. And unfortunately, you do lose your critical thinking errors. I wasn't doing my own research. I'm listening to people with 2 PhDs, people like yourself, smart and intelligent. I'm not researching anything. I'm just listening to what everybody's sharing with me. I'm watching Fox News, and Gateway Pundit and all these lying media. And I'm getting pulled in just like everybody else. And then the love bombing. I'm doing this for you. They're trying to take away this country. They're going to try to make it a communist country. And then the gaslighting. It wasn't us. The election was stolen. The gaslighting. I'm asking people, where's the evidence? I was still on the fence with that. Where's the evidence that the election was stolen? Oh, Pam, don't be listening to all them people. Democrats have always stolen elections. I said, oh, they have? I didn't know that. I never heard of it.
But you're not a new voter to the process. So if somebody says to you, hey, the Democrats stole the election. And I like your critical thinking on that when you say, well, how did they steal the election? Oh, well, they've been stealing it all along. Well, if that's true, just as, as myself, and maybe, I too might be, a little bit as a critical thinker, if Democrats are always stealing the election, well, how did Trump win in 2016? How did Bush win? Right? Or how did Bush 1 win? Or how did Ronald Reagan win? Or is that they let Republicans win every now and then so as to try to make it appear to be fair? I'm just not sort of following that logic because it doesn't make any sense to me at all. It's almost as stupid as whether it was Marjorie Toilet Green or Lauren Boebert, one of those two idiots, that said that it's Jewish space lasers that were up there beaming down signals to change people's votes from Donald Trump to Joe Biden. I just don't understand that thinking. So really the question I'm trying to figure out is, what was it that they had said to you that made you believe that what they were telling you was accurate?
It's just the people you're with, your family. I always trusted my family that they are educated. They're stay more on politics than I do. And so I just relied on their information. I feel embarrassed saying this. I really do, because it's like, why couldn't I have done my own research? Why wasn't I? All that could have, should have. But now I'm just glad that I see everything. But back then, you're just like most people. They're just, oh, don't listen to Pam. Don't listen to Mike Cohen. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just angry at Trump. That's not true. It's not true at all. But at the time, you're just surrounded. I'm talking to senators in Boise, Idaho, to the governor's wife, right? I'm associating with all these people, and I'm not questioning what they're telling me. Just a few times, but you always get gaslighted every time. Don't believe what they're telling you.
And what was the gaslight for you? The big lie that they stole the election?
Well, that I was still, yeah. It's like, okay, well, that'll all come out. Won't the Democrats fight against that? They wouldn't even want that to happen. They'd be the first pushing back, but they're not. They're saying it wasn't stolen. I thought something's wrong here. I kept feeling like something was just not right. That we got to listen to our inner self and do our own research. That's the most important thing. Not to listen to just everything.
But Pam, what was the gaslighting specifically that made you? Because like me, you got in trouble for your relationship into the cult of Donald Trump. But what was it specific? Like, what was the aspect that you would say was the gaslighting that got you to do about stealing of the election, the big lie?
The stealing of the election. That was the biggest one.
Yeah, because I've heard you say that you felt like you were brainwashed.
Yes.
Were you very active on social media? Is that where you were getting your idea about the election being stolen? Where did all this information come from?
Actually, from the GOP, Dorothy Moon. She's the head of the GOP right now in Boise, Idaho. I've been with her.
In Boise, Idaho.
Yeah,
I was. And what is it that she said to you?
The election was stolen, and that they're lying. And she hung with Ammon Bundy. I ran with Ammon Bundy for a long time, for 2 years. I videotaped everything they were doing. At the end there, I started recognizing and seeing it from my own eyes that they set up these arrests on purpose to be a victim, to get arrested, and then have you say that the government's weaponized against them. And that's what happened on January 6th, the same thing. But I'm hanging out with Dorothy Moon. Oh my God. And they're hanging out with Ammon Bundy. And you're feeling like these are the people to be listening to at the time. Because why would they be lying? I just take you firsthand. Oh my God, now I know all of them are lying about everything. But you take them for firsthand. It's like if I go out and have coffee with you, I'm listening to you. I'm listening to what you're sharing with me. I believe you. Why would you lie to me? Well, they lie to you. Let me tell you, they lie about everything because I've watched it firsthand. And that's how I got started in coming on the other side. When I myself found out a lie about Ryan Samsel, the story with Gateway Pundit that he lost his eye, that's a lie. I found out the facts about that from a real source. He didn't lose his eye, but that's their grift right now. They tell the stories about what's happening to them inside the prison, and they're all lies, and their gifts send and go. His went up to $80,000 by having you believe that his eye was taken out. And what he said in the prison was he called the guards the N-word. So from finding out myself the facts, which people, please do this yourself, I came to realize they're all lying about everything. And then that got me digging more and more. And here I am.
Okay, but you don't seem to be a person I would call gullible. And so if they turned around and they said to you that, they could slingshot a rocket ship to the moon using rubber bands, I don't care. As an example, I don't care who it is that's saying it to you. I don't care if it's Donald Trump or Donald von Schitzenpants himself saying it. Let me ask you this. Let me use a real example. When Donald von Schitzenpants turned around and said that he heard that you could possibly use ultraviolet light to put it into your body to kill COVID, or that you could inject bleach into your lungs in order to, you didn't believe that, did you?
Oh, yeah, you believe anything Trump tells you. The mind of the MAGA? Oh, yeah, because they're blinded. The hijacking of the brain of what he has done is horrifying. But yeah, you're gullible. You believe everything he's saying. You don't question it for the one reason, and people need to wrap this around their head and get it. He has convinced them that the Democrats want to make this a communist country, that the DOJ is weaponized against the J6ers and Donald Trump, and it's not true. It's all a lie. But he's convinced them, and they don't care what he's done. If he's broke the law, if he's raped women, they don't care, because he's going to save them from the Democrats. See, he's going to make this, oh God, the Christian nationalists. Everything's based on this Christian stuff.
Which is funny because Donald's not a religious person.
And he don't believe in God.
He doesn't have a religious bone in his body.
He's a dangerous narcissist. He needs to be locked up. He's dangerous.
Okay, so
Michael.
Oh,
I'm
you
serious.
Don't have to tell me. Oh yeah. So, but interesting that you're saying that they're saying that the Democrats want to make this into a communist country.
Yes. Yes.
Who's the only one so far ever out there who's turning around and saying that he wants to be a dictator on day number one? That he wants to, on day number one, that he wants to violate and that he will violate people's constitutional rights, that he will use SEAL Team 6 to incarcerate or kill critics or people that he finds as political enemies. That's a communist autocratic ideology. That's not a democratic. You've never heard Joe Biden say that. So even if you are knee deep into the dumpster shit cult of Donald von Schitzenpants, my question though is, how could you possibly acknowledge that being said, that just because he says the Democrats want to make this into a communist country, you're the only one that's saying communist shit. So I don't get it.
I know. It's like listening to Hitler, and you really like everything Hitler is saying to you because he's saving you, right? And then you wake up, this is where I'm at now, and you go, oh my God, Hitler's the one that wants to destroy the country. Trump's the one that wants to destroy the country. Trump's the one that wants to be the dictator and take away all your rights and get rid of the Constitution. And it's so scary. That's why I'm pushing back. That's the only reason I keep speaking out as much as I can, wherever I can, because hopefully many of us now are doing this, and thank you for what you're doing. We need more pushback because this man is Hitler. I'm sorry, but he's Hitler, period. He's going to get rid of the gay rights. He's going to put you in prison if you've had an abortion. I mean, it's frightening And the Black community, forget it. All their rights will be taken away. It's really scary. It's so important right now that we do everything we can to keep him out of office. Put him in jail. He needs to be put in jail. I'm saying, and be gagged. Because look at the border. Look what he's doing with the border. He's not telling people to back off. They're taking the law into their own hands. And this is what Trump did on January 6th. He uses everybody as a pawn, and then he'll drop you in a second later. He's just using
you don't
everybody.
have to tell me about that one.
Yeah.
I'm still going through those repercussions.
Yeah.
I mean, there are 4 right now indictments against Donald. 2 by Jack Smith, 1 by Alvin Bragg, and then the last one by Fani Willis. At the end of the day, I truly believe that he will be held accountable for all of the 91 charges that are currently pending against him. We've already seen him for the first time held accountable. It's really the second time held accountable, and this is the E. Jean Carroll cases of sexual assault, rape, defamation. We've seen that now twice. I believe, again, and I do really believe it, knowing on, for example, the New York AG's case, that is due for a decision by Judge Arthur Engoron any day now. Arthur Engoron, the judge, had stated that he will have his decision before the end of the month. Well, that's where we are right now today. So it should drop any second. And I do believe, knowing the case the way that I do, that in total, he will be held accountable for in excess of $600+ million. I know that our unsinkable New York Attorney General, Tish James, is now seeking like $370 or $390 million. Some new information has recently also come out about his failure to pay over $50+ million in additional taxes on some project. But what people don't realize is that New York has a 9% statutory interest. On top of that, you have penalties. Add all that up, multiply times 6 years. It comes out to, again, over that $600 million. So you take that, you take the 88.3 to E. Jean Carroll, and so on. I mean, you're really looking at a lot of cash, and Donald does not have that cash. But again, I just want to touch on for a quick second more about the whole brainwashing and the fact that you actually were listening. And I've heard them say it too. Don't get me wrong. The OANs, the Newsmax, the Fox News, the Epoch Times, all of these ultra right-wing propagandists, where they talk about how the Democrats are trying to change the country into communist, into a white Christian nation. I want to be very fair about something. That doesn't say a lot for Republicans that listen to it and accept it, considering that whole issue about America converting back into, which it never was in the first place, a white Christian nation. America just never was that. Mike Johnson, MAGA Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, is actually the one who said it, that he wants to see America return to a white Christian nation. Look it up on Google if you don't believe me. He's the one that said it, not Joe Biden, not Jean Pierre, not any of the Democrats. It's actually the Republicans that are spewing this nonsense.
I know. And if people would really take some time and start researching Project 2025 as a Republican, do you know I asked Nikki Haley, I went there and saw her, if she knew about Project 2025? She said no. And then she gets up there and she says, I'm going to dismantle the government. That's Project 2025. So sorry, Nikki Haley, but you lied to me, and I don't appreciate that. You should have said, yeah, I know a little bit. I'll give her the benefit of doubt because she's working for them, not for the people right now. And that's sad. Should be working for the people. But yes, there's so much lies out there. And there was I can't think of his name because I'm not a history bug, but he said, when we bring in religion, your God and what you believe in God's rules, and my God and my God's rules, there's going to be a war because this nation was built on the freedom of religion or no religion, right?
It's our First Amendment. You don't have to go. Have you ever wished that you had a whiter and a brighter smile? Well, before you visit a dentist, you should know that their whitening treatments can be very expensive. And it's not just the price. You also have to book the appointment and schedule time away from work or family to sit in a dentist's office chair while undergoing the procedure. I mean, let's be honest, it's a hassle. Fortunately, now you can try Smile Actives at home or anywhere, anytime. Smile Actives offers a safe and an affordable alternative to those expensive whitening processes. Like most people, I'm a big coffee drinker. I drink a ton of coffee. And over time, I've noticed that my teeth have lost some of their brightness that I was originally used to seeing. 97% of Smile Active users in a clinical trial reported up to 6 shades whiter on average, all within 30 days. I'm using it. Look. I mean, simply add Smile Active Pro Whitening Gel to your regular toothpaste. It's been formulated with polyclean technology to boost stain removal and deliver active whitening ingredients into your teeth's grooves and crannies so that you get better whitening. Smile Actives makes a teeth whitening gel that can simply be added to your toothpaste every time that you brush your teeth. So no change in your routine, no extra time, and no more messy strips, trays, or lights. People will start commenting on your whiter, your brighter smile in just days. Smile Actives is the whitening boost your favorite toothpaste needs to give you the smile that you deserve. So I want you all right now to visit smileactives.com/Cohen today to receive a special buy one, get one free offer with auto delivery plus free shipping and handling. That's smileactives.com/Cohen. Terms and conditions apply, so see the site for details. Ask the First Amendment. You know, even if you didn't know what the Second Amendment was, everybody knows what the First Amendment is. I mean, it's, people have limited memory capability. I get it. But the First Amendment, everybody knows.
But Michael, have you watched the documentary called The Family and how they got this started years ago in 1930 with Doug Cole? And they've been bringing, and the timing is perfect right now. It's called The Family. They're trying to bring this 2025 in here in a white nation, Christian based, all by if it's a sin, you're going, well, what are they going to do about cussing? Anyway, it's insanity. It is all crazy. And it's scary. It's very frightening. It's actually just a Hitler playbook. That's all it is. And people need to wrap that around their head. And we're not just saying these things. This is a fact. I've done my research and I see what they're doing. And it's so scary. Everybody should be talking about Project 2025 and pushing back hard. Call your representatives. Call your representatives. Ask them, you know how many Republicans tell me they've never heard about it? When I was there at her event, I'm asking 10. 7 out of 10 didn't know about it. You knew who knew about it? Was the news that I was talking to some media, and they said, yeah, I heard about it. It's very scary. Do you believe that Nikki Haley really doesn't know about it? And I said, well, I've been fooled by the best, but she sounded like she never heard about it until I listened to her talk because I had recorded it. And she's up there saying, I'm going to dismantle the DOJ. It's like, what? Are you lost your mind?
Well, so let me say, I'm with you on that. And I think that their conversation, meaning the GOP, is very autocratic. It is very Third Reich. And I don't know if you know this about me, but my father is a Holocaust survivor. And I'm fortunate to have both my mom and my dad alive. My mom was not. My mom's an American, born and bred. But my dad was born in Poland, and unfortunately, as a child, went through the war. And I can tell you, one of the things that pushed me into this podcast, into being as verbal about ensuring that this country, the greatest gift to the world, is democracy. And we are an experiment. I remember reading, I must have read at least 100 books on the Holocaust, where I can honestly tell you the statement of never again, that's the statement that the Democrats should be using right now. Never again. Because what Trump is talking is very Third Reich. And the shit that comes out of his mouth is very similar, if not identical, to the same shit that Hitler said. Right.
Exactly.
And it's causing the rise in anti-Semitism. It's causing chaos throughout the world, the same way that Hitler did in the 30s and in the early 40s. I mean, this is factual. And why people remember one thing about history. If history is not checked, it's doomed to repeat itself.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you something which, many people, and I hope my listeners know Pam Hemphill, who you actually are. You were at the Capitol on January 6th. My question that I want to ask you is why? And what happened to you while you were there?
Well, I was scheduled to start chemotherapy. I just had a surgery. I had breast cancer. And that's what I was doing as a citizen journalist, videotaping. And my family called me and said, how would you like to go there for a Christmas present? Because you're going to start chemotherapy and you're going to be down for a long time. And I thought, oh, that would be great. See Trump, and videotape it. And well, I got there too late in the morning. And the crowd was so big that I thought somebody could hit me by accident. Because look, I'm going to a rally. You see them on TV all the time, and they're safe. It's just a rally. It's no big deal, right? I'm going to be safe. It's like you're going to go to Disneyland, and then they blow it up. But so I go down there. I can't get in, and I'm talking to people, and some said they heard that he's going to be down at the Capitol. And my first thought was, why is he going to the Capitol? He's talking right now. That was weird. It was like a red flag. I should have paid attention. Something's wrong here. But anyway, I kept walking, and then other people said, I didn't hear anything. I don't know what he's going to be doing next. So I kept walking, and it's when I ran into the Proud Boys. And I said, are we going inside the Capitol? Because, see, I thought because the Proud Boys, what is it, stand back, stand by, he said,
yep,
we're going to be with Trump and guarding Trump as an extra security. So I wanted to be right with them because I was excited to be videotaping, if that makes sense. Because I was live on Facebook for everybody in Boise. So they were depending on me showing everything. Well, so we walked to the Capitol. Now, I'm not on that violent side. I'm not saying that to minimize the violent side. It's just my side was not what they show on the news, which they should show. And I got 19 videos that the big lie that the Capitol Police started this, it shows you on my video that the crowd pushed the barriers, that the crowd pushed the officers, not the officers. But what happened, I got pulled over by one of the officers, and William Dunphy, he's just been sentenced, I think. He's telling me that the officer is going to allow us up to the steps. And I thought, oh, that's great, we're going to get to the steps. But it was a big lie. It was all set up by him and whoever. So I got confused. I took a pain pill. I was a little funny. And so when he pulled me over, the officer, I'm telling people, come on in. It's your house. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed about that. But I got confused. And the woman officer said, no, they're not letting them in. You got to go back. I said, oh my God, I got to go back? Oh my God. So they put me right back to the same spot. And within seconds, they did it again. And an officer pulled me over again. So that's why I want to meet the officers. I went to the captain. The captain said, go to the steps. I'll tell him to put you behind you. I'm saying this real quick. There's more to it. But so I get up there and they step on me. They push me down. And I was trying not to hit an officer. So I pushed back like that to fall. And I fell on my back. They stepped on my head. These are the Patriots. Cut my knee, broke my glasses, pulled out my shoulder. And an officer, I got it on tape, pulled me up, put me up behind him. And where I did wrong was I stayed. I had to keep videotaping. And then I saw people coming in and out of the doors and two officers standing there. So I thought, oh, they're letting them in. I want to videotape what's going on just in case my videos could help the police. You never know what I could capture. What happened? I got shoved in. So I got in, I sat down, and then they were having them leave. And I asked an officer, said, I can't get around this crazy crowd. They pushed me in here, and he helped me out. And then I'm walking back around the Capitol, and I saw Jacob Chansley. So I went up there and videotaped him. And then we went up to the front, and we showed the video, Jacob Chansley, you know, the Buffalo Man, where Trump is telling everybody to leave. And I thought, isn't this the end of the day? I'd already asked the captain, I said, where's the National Guard? What can we do? This is insane. But it's the end of the day, and Trump's telling people to leave, right? So Jacob Chansley leaves. I stay there. You think I was a Marine with the AR, because I'm standing there and I'm saying, you are not going back through this door. Get the hell out of here. And I got pushed into the door by one of the crowd, but that's okay. I did get a video where one guy was taking a book. They broke the window, was pulling a book out, and I got that on video. But that it all happened so fast. Your mind's not thinking. They had stepped on my head, so I wasn't. You know, my brain got shook up, and I had taken a pain pill. I was kind of like, "What's going on here?"
Okay, right, but Pam, so tell us about the aftermath then of January 6th. Did you think that you were going to be arrested? Because the way it seems is that, yes, you got sucked up into the crowd. And by the way, I think every one of my listeners could understand if you've ever been to, for example, a college, football game. I mean, and they're moving in waves that there's no way to get to the left or to the right. Did you ever imagine that you were going to be arrested? And did you ever imagine that you'd end up going to prison based upon your being there? Here's my only question. I don't think anybody was arrested or went to prison who stayed in the rotunda area inside the Capitol. It's those people that went into the actual, the Capitol that were progressing towards, let's say, the offices of members of Congress, or trying to get to the Senate floor. Those are the ones that, so far, my understanding, have been arrested. But nobody that stayed by that inner sanctum, right, won the doors. How come you didn't just stay there? Did you wander into the Capitol further on?
No. See, I saw two officers, so I was going to get it on tape and ask them, are you letting people come in? What I realize now when you watch my videos, the ones that were violent, the big people that really did all this crazy stuff, that were yelling, kill Peroski, they were coming out while other people were going in. I didn't realize that the other side was even going on, see. It's hard to visualize, I know. But they're coming out and they're coming in. So I'm thinking they're letting us in. But I didn't get a chance to talk to the officers because they pushed me in. And I said, oh my God, be careful, you guys. They pushed me in. So I sat down. Then they're trying to get everybody out. And I had stitches, so I was protecting myself. And an officer helped me get out another way to keep me safe. So thank you, officer, what you did that day. They are the heroes.
Sure. So,
but
you were ultimately charged.
Yeah, for correct? Picketing and parading.
And that's what you were charged with, picketing and parading?
Yeah, what I did, I'm friends with the Capitol Police in Boise, Idaho. So I called Mike and I said, Mike, I'm scared to death. I got shoved in. You know me, he knows me, because I did all the videos for them. I caught one guy in Boise, Idaho, scratching on the Liberty Bell. He put FUCK USA, and I caught him on video. And so I became friends with the Capitol Police. And so I called Mike and I said, Mike, am I in trouble? Should I call the FBI and turn myself in? Am I in trouble? He says, no, I'll keep an eye out for you. I'll let you know what's going on. Just go back to your room. So I walked 3 hours trying to find out where I was. And no, I kept close with the Capitol Police in Boise. I went and talked to them afterwards too. I said, look, I'm not a person that will run from the FBI. They could come get me and talk to me. And I think they were, this is just I have no proof. See, I was under chemotherapy. I think they waited till I was done to arrest me. But I figured it'd be okay. You know, I was guilty. Anybody there trespassing should be going to prison for it. It's not okay. Breaking the law is breaking the law.
So you did plead guilty.
Absolutely, because I was guilty. I was guilty. Yeah, I had a choice. I'm not a victim. I could have left. I don't care what my excuses are. I mean, it's justified and it's understandable. You know, I want to videotape it, but that's the excuses. Every J6er there that was there that day should be arrested. I'm sorry. And if they do any pardons, that's a message. That's a horrible message.
Well, who's the one who said, but Pam, who's the one that said that he's going to pardon all of the J6 hostages? They're not insurrectionists in Donald Trump and the GOP's eyes. They are hostages, which as a Jew and as somebody who has like 200 cousins that live in Israel, all right, I can honestly tell you, I'm offended.
You should be.
Usage of the term hostage. All right, when you're talking about the January 6th insurrectionists.
Oh, that's disgusting, Michael. Oh, God. He's lying. I'm telling you right now, he's lying. He lies about everything. He is not going to pardon them. He's using them right now for his own political gain. In fact, that last lady that just was on the news with CNN, she says, I'm waiting for Trump. He's going to pardon me. I tried to talk to her. She wouldn't listen to me. Trump is not going to pardon you, dear. I'm sorry. He's a liar. Get this through your head. He's lying to all the J6ers. He is not going to back them. Once he gets in power, oh, maybe a few, like somebody like me, don't take a pardon, whatever you do. But no, Michael, yeah, he's disgusting. I'm sorry. I get upset just talking about him sometimes.
So look, Pam, as I'm sure you and of course all of my listeners know all too well, I've had some experience with going to prison for Donald Trump. And you went, if I'm not mistaken, for 60 days, correct?
Correct. Dublin prison, California.
So tell me, where were you and what was prison like for you?
First, I want to put a shout out for free Michale West. Obama was going to release her. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be out. That lady saved my life. She's a beautiful Black Muslim lady. It's free Michale West. That prison was the worst. 60 Minutes just did a show on my
Which one were you at?
Dublin prison in California.
Oh,
it's right by San Francisco. And the women in there, what they were doing, they were allowing the guards to have sex with them because they knew that they could get released and do a lawsuit. So it's all set up. It was a setup there. And the drugs were there. And it's the #2 worst prison in the United States. It's horrible. You wouldn't want to give the food to a starving dog. And even the guards have to eat it. It's the worst prison in the United States. And I was in there with lifers. I was supposed to go to the camp. And when I got there, they said, I'm sorry, Miss Hemphill, but you're not going to the camp. And when I got in there, Miss Michale West said, what are you doing here? I've been here 28 years. I've never seen a misdemeanor in this prison. Are you lying to us? I said, no, I'm a January 6th.
How did you, I'm so sorry. How did you end up into General Pop instead of the satellite camp? Didn't you know where you were going in advance?
Yeah, I had the paperwork too, telling me where I was going. And all I know is when I left, I asked the sergeant, is it true that they were going to put drugs in my room and make sure I never leave? And he said, just be grateful you're leaving. So yeah, they had plans. Now there was 95% cartel women. See, it's not the prison per se. It was the women in there. And a lot of them are good women. It's just, you have those gangs, you know, and they didn't like Trump, and I get it now. I understand. But yeah, it was a nightmare.
How did they, tell me something though, how did they change? So again, because you're in your 70s, I was in Otisville, but I was in the Otisville satellite camp. And the oldest guy that we had that was there was 80 years old. We actually had another guy who was only maybe 6 months or so younger than him. So, you know, we had a full range and so on. And we actually, you know, looked after those who were not physically well, who had issues. We had one guy who I thought the world of. he was an engineer who had COPD, like less than 15% breathing capability. There were nights that myself and another guy would spend all night just watching him in his cubicle to make sure that he didn't die because he got very, very sick. But everybody was kind of not just good to each other, but really, for the most part, great to one another. If you needed something, you just went and you asked somebody and they would give it to you. It wasn't like Shawshank Redemption or anything like that. I mean, here, if you were sitting down and you were watching a ball game and you had a bag of those artificial Oreo cookies or, any of those, other Twizzlers or any of those other things, you passed it around to everybody. And people took and they appreciated. And then somebody else would send over to you, a drink or another bag of cookies or whatever it was. Or you would just actually take a bowl that you bought at commissary and you would just fill it up and everybody would just take it at the base. I mean, we would do that on a regular basis. Was yours the same way? I mean, don't forget, too, in my satellite camp, I had a state senator with me. I had Mike the Situation from the Jersey Shore was with me. I had a guy who was the former chief of staff to Andrew Cuomo was with us. We had a bunch of white collar guys. And by the way, the camp was just about 50% Jewish, 25% Hispanic, and 25% Black. And everybody, for the most part, got along, which made the experience not so bad.
No, actually, see, the phones, the elderly are supposed to be able to use the phones first, but it was Michelle West would come by and say, she's using that phone. And when I was watching TV, she said, she'd grab the remote.
The remote,
say,
yeah.
This is Miss Hemphill's. She had control of what they would do with me because she knew it was the cartel women. They were mad at Trump. I mean, I get it. They had me in a bubble. This is a Trumper, and I can understand their anger towards me. It's okay.
Free Michelle West. For taking such good care of you, free Michelle West. For me, I got to be honest, the hardest part for me while I was there was missing my family.
Oh.
It was beyond. And knowing every day that you put your head down on that pillow and every day waking up and knowing that you shouldn't be here because the charges that were brought against you are lies. Yeah, I did. I did an NDA for a guy that dipped his stick where he shouldn't have, and so on. I did an NDA, and I accept responsibility for the things that I did wrong, but I accepted responsibility for things that I didn't do because the Department of Justice, the prosecutors, have such an ability to strong arm you. I was watching the other day on television, and there's two guys who they just caught in Queens, New York, with IEDs, with explosive devices, AR-15s, bullets, and a whole list of people that they were looking to kill because they were trying to get rid of people who are anti-Trump. They were, they're pro-Trumpers. And according to the way that the media is showing it, that these two brothers could be looking at 33 years of prison for the possession of these guns and everything else. And I find that fucking abominable by every stretch of the imagination, considering the crimes that I was being charged with. I was looking at somewhere between 60 to 78 years for another guy getting his mushroom pecker pulled by a porn star. I'm looking at 60 to 78 years. These guys with IEDs, explosive devices, with guns, with ammo, with a hit list, they're looking at 33 years. I just find to be honest with you, I find the whole system to be corrupt. And the more, or as soon as I start to get some of these FOIA documents that I've been asking for over 2.5 years, the more it's going to become apparent that there needs to be a massive, massive overhaul with the DOJ. But I want to move on, Pam, and ask you this, because I understand that it was Trump saying that he would pardon all the J6ers if he got into office that helped to change your mind about him. You brought it up, but can you expand on that a little bit for us?
Well, you'd set up precedents that it was okay that day. We can't get that message out there. That's a nightmare. You can't pardon any J6er. And anybody said is running for office, I'm sure Biden won't. I'm pretty sure he won't. I haven't heard anything, but I hope he puts that out there. No pardoning the J6ers, period, black and white. No, they committed a crime. It was the worst thing that's ever happened. Do not compare it with the Black Lives Matter. They try to do that. That was the Capitol. You know how they got me out there. You know about this, Michael, where they were comparing me with Hunter Biden and, Tucker Carlson. He's the one that gave me the name MAGA Granny. I was inside prison when my brother called and said, you got the name MAGA Granny. I said, I didn't want no MAGA Granny name. How dare them? So they were trying to use me as an example of what the DOJ is doing to the J6ers. Now, this is wrong because I'm telling you what, those J6ers are criminals. They are not heroes. They are not patriots. Not that day. I know they got brainwashed by Trump. I understand all that. I went there for the same reasons. He hijacked my brain and brainwashed me into all his lies. However, I'm still responsible for my actions that day. No FBI came up to me and said, Miss Hemphill, I want you to go inside the Capitol because we're trying to take over. They're crazy with their thinking. They're crazy. They are insane.
Pam, both you and I have said that Trump is a cult leader. And I've been saying this for many, many years. And I'm assuming that you think that the folks who are still with him, I think this way, are cult members. I say it right. So my question to you, Pam, is why do you think that so many people still follow him right down into that dumpster cult and refuse to hear the truth?
Because he's hijacked their brain with fear, just like Germany did. They put the fear in the people first. When you've got that going, they almost can't hear anything else because all they want to do, they're patriots that want to save the country against the communists taking over. It's almost like when I started with space, I heard the same thing from both sides. I'm going, wait, Democrats are saying what the Republicans are saying, that they're taking over. However, it's the truth about Trump taking over and wanting this to be a communist nation. That's what I discovered. And it's kind of ironic. Here you are all your life. You wake up with the same husband or the same wife, and then the police come on the door and say, look, he's been robbing banks for 5 years. You go, what? That's what it felt like with Trump when you discover what a liar he is and narcissist. That this guy is really the one we got to be careful about. Yes, he's the one. You really do, because he's the biggest con artist. Well, he can't con me. I've worked with criminals. So he has definitely got the criminal mind. There's a book called Inside the Criminal Mind by Samson Samanow. You like that book? Yeah, I went
I read it
to
while
a lot
I was
of
in
his.
Otisville.
I used to go to his workshops. I met him. And he's got the criminal mind too, thinking. And he'll come at you with everything he has when you go up against him. Well, let him do it. Let him come after me or anybody. I don't care. He has no power over me. I believe in a higher power that has power. Not him. He's nothing. He will go to jail. Look, I want everybody to trust Jack Smith. He has the receipts. Have faith in him, what he's doing. Trump will go to prison.
Well, trust also attorney DA Alvin Bragg and trust DA Fani Willis, right?
They know what they're doing.
Can I jump on something you were talking about? Because you seem to have this wonderful affection towards the Capitol Police. Mm. And you did an open letter, if I'm not mistaken, you wrote an open letter to the Capitol Police apologizing for your actions that day and thanking them for saving you. I mean, that's right, which is really, truly wonderful. What do you think of my new friend, my pal, Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn, his decision to run for Congress? And I'm asking everybody, Dunn for Congress, please go on, give him $1, $2, $5, $10, whatever you can afford. Harry Dunn deserves it. But what do you think of Harry Dunn's run for Congress?
Oh, it's fantastic news. I hope more like him do. He has high integrity. He's going to bring a lot to help this country. And it's just a good thing. It's a great thing. And if I could talk to him, I would be telling him, I am so sorry for what you guys had to go through that day. You are the heroes. And there's one J6er that I can't wait to meet you and hug you and give you a hug. And I did hear the N word. They lie and say nobody was saying that to officers. Yes, they did. I heard it with my own ears. So stop lying. But these officers, I told anybody, if I ever wrote a book, I ain't taking a penny. It's all going to the Capitol Police. No J6er should make any money off of January 6th that was a defendant, period. That's my belief and feeling. But my hope is to get that letter is to the Congress. I want them to know some facts about January 6th. Then, they were on a space, one of the representatives, they wouldn't let me talk, but they let Jacob Hansley and Derek Evans, that's running for Congress. They're both J6ers. They wouldn't listen to me. That nobody wants to hear from me. And that's really upsetting me. Why not? I'm talking to the Republicans right now. Why not?
Yeah.
Why don't you hear my side of the story? What's wrong with you? You're only listening to the ones that are lying to you. They're lying to him.
That is absolutely true. Look, I've become very close with Harry. We speak on a regular basis. I told him I'm going to try to raise money for him, for his run for. I think he is, as you said, he's a very decent human being. He's a really good American who wants to do right. And we need somebody like him, a big, strong guy who stood up, to these maniacs, these monsters. And I think he would be fantastic. So if you can, it's Harry Dunn for Congress. If you can, just check it out. So let me just move on and ask you, what do you think of the Democrats now? Because you've been a Republican, I think, your entire life, right? Do you have any political party now that you currently align with?
Well, you can't vote for any Republican right now because there is no Republican Party. There isn't one. So what do you do? And my encouragement for Republicans is please vote for Biden. Okay, I'm going to vote for Biden. I haven't changed parties yet because I'm taking a stand trying to help Republicans to vote for Biden. You don't have to change your party.
You don't have to change your party. You get to vote for whoever you want.
But I probably will down the road. But right now I'm staying Republican because I'm working with my Republican friends, and I've got 4 right now that have been listening to me. You have to start where you're at, to the people you know, your family, and give them some facts. Teach them about Project 2025. My own family, they have master's degrees, have never heard about Project 2025. I've given them some information.
And what have they done with it? Well, what have they done with that information?
Like, they've made comments like, that's kind of scary, isn't it? And I said, yeah, it's taking away all our constitutional rights for other people. I don't have to agree on abortion. I can say, okay, I don't believe that anybody should have abortion, but I don't have a right to tell you what to do. And if I want to marry a man, I can marry a man. I mean, if I was a man, the gay, that's none of my business. Leave those people alone, and they want to control that. Come on. It's about democracy, period. No matter what I feel, am I making any sense here?
No, you make perfect sense. Pam, let me ask you this. Have you been threatened by the MAGA base for speaking out about Trump and your experiences on January 6th?
Well, everybody that's had me on, I'm surprised you haven't yet. I have the biggest smear campaign. Yes, I've had to call the local police. I've had a threat of a SWAT. I keep getting death threats. Oh, yeah, I don't care. Let them. I must be doing something right. So I ain't afraid of these people. But I got a lot of friends. I got a lot of Marine friends that I got that, taking care of me. I'm okay. But yeah, they're crazy. They're out there with all their lies and whatever. I just have to laugh at them.
But it's not really whatever. I've had similar. I had one guy who was out of New Jersey who was literally on, I think it was OAN or some other channel. And a buddy of mine sent it to me and he said, hey, you really need to to take a look at this, the guy on television was like, yeah, I'm going to put a bullet right in Cohen's face. This is on television, this idiot, right? He's from New Jersey. So he's maybe maximum 30, 35 minutes, from door to door. Well, he ended up getting a visit by the FBI, by local police, state police, and so on. And, he's like some 5'2" piece of shit, thinking because he's got a firearm that makes him invincible and so on, hysterical crying, please don't take me. That's the thing I found out about most of these people. They're all a bunch of texting tough guys. And, at the end of the day, I don't buy a lot of it, but it only takes one fucking moron. It only takes one fucking moron with a 25-cent bullet, to create havoc. And that's what Donald Trump tries to do. He tries to sow that fear, and listen, one thing I can tell you for certain, he is certainly doing a good job in stoking fear. But Pam, let me then move on and ask you this question. If you could talk right now to Trump supporters, let's assume that everybody listening to this podcast, and we thank God, I mean, we're into the hundreds of millions of downloads since we started. Right now, you're talking to Trump supporters who are still with him today. What would you tell them to make them change their mind about him? Or do you think that they're just too far gone to be reasoned with? And then you just say, no point in wasting my breath.
I can explain it this way. As an alcohol and drug counselor, trying to work with those that are in denial about their drinking or their drug use, they don't hear you. They're too far gone. Their denial is so deep. All you can do is plant the seeds, and because the truth and facts stick with you no matter what. So you got to keep pushing and give them the facts and stay with what you believe. Don't go wishy-washy on people. But what I would recommend right now is, yes, right now they're too far gone because of Trump. It's all Trump. It points to Trump and his rhetoric, is to help your family and friends to go vote. That's the main thing for Biden, for the blue. That's what we need to work on right now. The MAGA, they're too far gone. They said, I'm happy to be a cult member. I'm happy that Trump's wants to be a dictator. This is how sick they are. Now, I don't say that to put these people down. I'm not putting people down. They are ill right now, mentally ill. They are. And I'm saying that as an ex-counselor. And there's a book, what was it, 36 of them that wrote about it, called The Case of Trump. You're familiar with that book? Mm-hmm. Trump is not well. He is mentally ill right now. And he's pulled all these other people that are mentally ill too. And if you look at statistics, most of these megas, they have had probably some background of childhood abuse, and they're acting out. And they're putting their anger in the wrong place, and they're listening to Trump, because Trump is the narcissist that they had in their family, and they want their approval from Trump. Yeah.
It's funny because there's a very famous quote that goes, every man has a right to his opinion, but no man has a right to be wrong in his facts. I have never seen a scenario as bad as the GOP, as damaging as Donald Trump when it comes to facts versus fiction. I've never seen anything like it. There's not a single day that goes by, there's not a rally that takes place, there's not an issue that Donald Trump doesn't talk about that is not inundated with absolute lies, distortions, misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation. I've never seen something like this in my entire life. In fact, the media, while Trump was president, stopped counting the lies after he hit 35,000. It's like 8+ lies a day by the president of the United States to the people who elected him, to the people that he works for. You see, von Schitzenpants has an absolute problem with understanding government and how government works. The country doesn't work for you. You, as president of the country, work for the people.
Yeah.
All the people, not just the people who adore you, who will send you money because you just lost 83.3 million more to someone who you not only sexually assaulted, but who you defamed for a second time, right? That's the problem that we have here. He lies with impunity, and the people who are his supporters, the ones that I just asked you about, if there's any way to reason with them, they accept his lies as the truth. You know, Stalin was actually the one that really perfected this, right? And his line was, you know, the more that you repeat a lie, the more that the lie becomes the truth. And Donald has taken that to a whole nother level. And that's the danger that America faces right now.
Yeah. You know, what he has put out there, God, it's so sad. It's everything he says is it is a lie. And how they don't care though. That's the sad part, because that's how he's hijacked their brain to the point where they say, well, yeah, it's okay if he's a dictator. That is sick. I mean, don't they remember what Hitler did? And
look at what's going on everywhere around the world. We still have Kim Jong-un. You have Vladimir Putin. You have Mohammed bin Salman. You have somebody these are people that Donald praises. You have you all heard of Viktor Orban, the powerful? I mean, that's not who you really want to emulate, in my opinion.
What do we do with the GOP? I mean, Trump wants the power. He's got the drug. It's the drug, and you got to understand, it's just as addicting as anything, as heroin or fentanyl. Power, control. The other ones, the GOP want the money. You know, they want to stay there and have their vote, you know. But Trump wants that power.
So Pam, let me say this. The hour, I blame the GOP too, and all of those that follow him. The hour goes by very quickly here on Mea Culpa, right? Okay. So it's an hour. I have one last parting question for you. What's your hope for the future of the country? And what do you think that the average citizen can do to help protect our precious democracy?
Get out there and volunteer for the Democratic Party. Get out there and help all you can. If it's going door to door, passing out pamphlets, whatever you could do something, because it helps. And I know a lot of you maybe can't get out there because of physical reasons, but please call your representatives. Say, what are you doing about Project 2025? Speak up more about it and go against it. You know, be our voice for us. So just do more talking. I mean, as far as talking to your representatives, helping the GOP party, the Democratic Party, go to the events where Biden's going to be, anything. Watch your show more, share your shows.
There you go. There you go. Well, Pam, thank you so much for joining me. You stay safe, and I promise you, I'm going to put you in touch. I'm going to do a 3-way call with my pal Harry Dunn, because I'm certain that he would love to hear from you. And don't forget, everybody, 2 things. 1, free Michale West, and Harry Dunn for Congress. Yes. Please take a look at both of them, and really appreciate you being with me. And I'm glad you're doing better health-wise, and also I'm glad you're out. Prison sucks.
And thank you for what you're doing. God bless you.
You got it.